Hi, and welcome to our first ever video review on Evo Unlimited. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to give you a heads up. The big difference between this video review and any video review you're going to see on the internet is the fact that you won't be seeing gameplay during this review, mainly because I don't have any capture equipment. We're just kind of ghetto over here at Evo Unlimited. But I'm just using my iPhone 4S to get the job done. I just thought it would be a different take on doing a review for a game, seeing as you guys are always slugging through my written articles. So this might be a chance for you to put a face to the writing, and for me a chance to try out some of the technology options that are available to us. So the game that we're going to be reviewing today is none other than Binary Domain. This game launched yesterday. And I've had a fair bit of time hands-on with it on the single player and multi. By no means am I completed the game, and of course with multiplayer it's just an endless stream of enjoyment. So the reality is the review is kind of halfway through, but I think I've got enough of an opinion that it's worthwhile sharing with you guys at home. So I'm going to boot up the game. Now you're probably wondering, if I'm not showing any video, why bother even playing the game, and the reason for that is that it will serve as a sort of a catalyst for some of the things I want to talk about during the review, and rather than me fumbling with my thoughts and trying to remember what I wanted to talk about it. So if you do see me tuning out for a little bit, bear with me, but I'm going to try and keep the words flowing so you guys get an accurate idea of what's happening and what I'm doing. So having said that, let's jump in. So the first thing I'm going to mention is the game is a good game. It's got some polish. Sega is the producing company behind it, publishing company behind it, and you know what? I think they've done a great job. The menu has a very good polished feel to it. Some of the sound effects remind me of Metal Gear Solid. I don't know if that's intentional or not. It is a Japanese developed game, so there might be some influences there, but here we go, off the Xbox Live. You guys might not have heard that, well, you didn't hear that, but that little click sound when you actually hit it, right off Metal Gear. So I'm going to go over to Versus mode. Worth mentioning as well, there is two multiplayer options in Binary Domain. There is a competitive multiplayer, which we're all about here at Evo Gaming League, and of course there's the typical survival mode, which is called Invasion, and that's basically you against swarms of robots. So, without getting into too much detail here, because I will have a written review following this as well, but the premise of the game is very simple. It is a science fiction based game where it takes place far into the future, very much influenced by Aliens, Blade Runner style, and Terminator of course as well. But the game basically involves a group of spec ops soldiers named a Rust crew, referred to as a Rust crew, that need to go and infiltrate Neo Tokyo and deal with a potential robot uprising. There's a lot of little layers to it, and the story is very good. Even though I haven't finished it yet, the story is very rich, very detailed. Excellent voice acting, graphics are very good, playability, I can't say enough good things about the campaign. Multiplayer? Well, strap yourself in. So here we go. I'm going to look for a public match. Lots of options. You've got free-for-all, team deathmatch, team survival. There's a take on Execution from Gears of War called Operation, which is a single life game mode, very much like Execution. Demolition, very much like Call of Duty, and you've got a couple others called Data Capture and Domain Control. I haven't really played a lot of the other game modes, and the reason for that is that there doesn't seem to be a lot of public matches available. After getting the game and scanning through the different game types, the only one that really has anybody playing on it right now is Team Deathmatch. So without further ado, let's jump in. So you obviously get a list of potential lobbies that you can jump in on. That's a little bit different than most matchmaking. Most matchmaking, it'll just take you in and boom, there you go, you're in that game. Here it actually populates a list of the various games that are being played. And one of the cool things about this is that if you do set up a private or your own match and list it as a public match, you can actually label the game so that when I do a search and it pulls up all the public games in play, it's going to have the name. So I could say Evo Gaming League Scrims, and if you see that, you're going to go, oh hey, I know those guys, I'm going to jump in. So it's kind of a cool feature that I wish a lot of games would do. Now, what's really disturbing is that I just hit public matchmaking and there's only 2 public games being played. So I don't know if that's just the way that the game filters it, or if it's really just that's all that's being played right now. I'd be really disheartened if that's the case. But anyway, I'll jump in, and here we go. Okay, So we're off to the races. So right off the bat, it's a third-person shooter. Uses a cover system. It's a different cover system than you're used to with Gears of War. It is not a clone of Gears of War, but I can't really say that one is better than the other. So the reality is I wouldn't go as far as to say it's inferior or superior. So I'm going to pick my loadout. I've got Scout, Soldier, Sniper, Heavy Gunner, Striker, obviously with different weapons that you start with. One of the cool things about this game is that it borrows heavily from Counter-Strike in that you get credits for kills or points, and prior to the beginning of your match you can actually purchase equipment. And that ranges from guns, it ranges from med kits to rocket launchers, you know, and it's just kind of a cool way to tweak out your loadout in game between deaths. So if something's not working for you, swap it out and try something different. Now the map that I'm playing on is looks like a city-oriented map. You know, basically graphically, I would say it's comparable to the campaign. Obviously, with any multiplayer game, you're going to find that the developers have to make compromises, and I've yet to see a multiplayer game that looks as good as the campaign in all my years of playing games. So here we go. Got some bad guys coming up. Now, one of the key things here is they have gone with a system that alters your loadout based on your faction. So similar to Battlefield 3 and some other multiplayer games out there, you do get different weapons based on your chosen faction when you spawn in. So it threw me for a loop, mainly because I'm not a big fan of the Resistance's starting rifle as a soldier. But the ability to purchase weapons in game means you can obviously buy the guns that you're more adept at. So just touching on graphics, you know, it's not a bad looking game. It definitely could be improved. Maps are kind of bland, you know, so it's not going to win any awards for best graphics of the year. You know, by contrast, I've just been playing a lot of Gears of War lately, and Gears of War blows this away graphically. But if you go into this trying not to compare it with you know, an existing AAA title, I think you'll be okay with it. Movement's good, tight. You know, it's a little bit more methodical than Gears. Gears 3 especially encourages a very quick, fast-paced cover slide in and out of cover system. Here it feels a little bit like what maybe Ghost Recon Future Soldier is going to be like. You've got a very tactical feel to it. When you take cover in this game, you really are, you know, making some conscious decisions about your cover versus just wall bouncing all over the place. I'm not doing very well here, just so you know. It's a good thing you're not looking at the screen. I have a hard time playing and talking. So graphically, it's good. It's not going to win any awards, but I think it gets the job done. And outside of some boring maps, you know, I think it's fine. Maybe some DLC down the road will give us a map variety. So back over to playability. Yeah, it's got a good control scheme. You know, it definitely takes some getting used to versus any other games. It uses very Gears of War-ish control scheme when it comes to running, taking cover, and reloading especially. Left trigger obviously goes into over-shoulder aim mode. You know, the HUD is very clean. Animations are very cool. You get some cool cover slide. You get some cool vaulting animations. So, you know, in general, presentation makes you feel like a badass. I will mention one thing that's really disappointing me with the multiplayer side of it is that you don't play as any of the iconic characters from the campaign. So basically that means is that you are playing a bunch of generic soldiers. They kind of look fugly. You know, they're not really badass looking. I mean, depending on the class, obviously the soldier looks pretty cool, but you know, like the guy I'm playing right now, for example, looks like something right out of James Cameron's Aliens, the Colonial Marines. But you know, some of the other, you know, classes look kind of silly, and you've even got guys running around in ninja masks and stuff. So, you know, not a big fan of what they did as far as that goes. Now, I have heard that they are releasing DLC free, and that's going to bring in some character skins from the developer's previous game, Yakuza. So that might be kind of cool, and maybe they'll take a cue and release the hero skins from the campaign. But for me, my fun factor in multiplayer definitely comes out of, especially third-person shooters. I don't really care about first-person because you're just looking at their hands. But you know, when you're playing a third-person shooter and you see your guy taking cover, you want to look like you want to look cool. I mean, you're staring at your character for the whole match. You want to be able to look at this guy and go, yeah, I feel like a badass. That's just me though. So that's my only little gripe there as far as that goes. Sound, we'll cover all the bases here. It's okay. I mean, it's not going to be the thing that's going to make me play the game or stop playing the game. Gun sounds are a little subdued. You know, obviously not being modern weapons and stuff that we're familiar with means they have some creative liberties and they can sort of do what they want with the gun sounds. They don't sound as punchy as I would have liked. You know, Lancer Fire and Hammer Burst and shotguns obviously are something that you get from Gears, and you know, if you're comparing again, not quite as good a sound. Okay, so I'm getting killed here, and obviously I can't review and talk at the same time. I will say this about the multiplayer servers: they are really bad right now. It's kind of hit or miss. You know, a few public games last night, it got to the point where we're all standing around shooting each other with no bullet damage until it migrated to a better host. So it is using peer-to-peer, no dedicated servers. So if you've been living in a world of dedicated servers with Battlefield, Homefront, Gears of War, you are going to be disappointed. But, you know, I think as the population increases with the game and hopefully people, you know, come and start playing the game, you're going to see that improve. With any luck, at the EGL, we'll be able to get in some private events. I wouldn't mind seeing this happen. I think the game's got enough of a polish that we can actually say that, you know, we could host some events and actually have some fun with it. But right now, the state of public matchmaking is pretty random. You know, you get a good game, you get a bad game. So, as an overall statement, is the multiplayer any good? Yeah, I would say it's a good multiplayer experience. You know, we're going into 2012 with a lot of cool new games coming out. Kind of bored of Gears of War a little bit. You know, Battlefield's wearing on me. I think in general, first-person shooters are, you know, kind of just getting too much of the same, especially military genre. Gears, amazing game. I think what's pulling me away from it right now is the fact that you know, you've got a lot of overpowered weapons, potentially game-breaking stuff, and you know, in general, I've been playing Gears for, you know, geez, almost 6 years now. So yeah, it's getting a little thin. You know, it's nice to be able to pick up a new shooter in the third-person style that actually has some polish. Great narrative campaign. Totally recommend playing the single-player story to get a feel for the universe and why you're playing multiplayer. You know, there's no narrative in it, but for sure there's a reason why you're running around as a bunch of soldiers shooting each other. So that helps too. It helps you immerse in the game. But you know, I think it's just 2012 is due for some new stuff, and I've got this, and I've got a couple other new titles coming on the horizon, both third-person. So I'll definitely be playing this until the next batch of games come out. I will warn you, if you jump into the multiplayer, make sure you give it some time. My first 10 minutes of playing this, I was frustrated. I wasn't doing very well. I wasn't getting any kills. And then I realized, you know, what I needed to do and how I needed to play the game. You got to slow it down. This isn't a run and gun game. This isn't a wall bounce game. This isn't a shoddy duel game. You know, if you're playing Gears of War, you can't use 100% of your techniques from that game to win a game in this. Use cover, and also embrace the purchase system, the ability to buy gear between levels. Don't just discount that. You get points every time you get a kill. When you die, you know, go into the shop and see what you maybe need to buy to get a victory in the next one. Also, teamwork. You know, stick with your buddies. You know, take cover. You're going to get a lot of assists. If you're not getting any kills, at least get those assist points, and help the team out for the betterment of the entire team. So I'm going to get back to playing. I'm really enjoying it. I'm bouncing back and forth between single player and multiplayer. You will get an official review on the EVO Unlimited site, which will be a written review. And I am going to be uploading this one as a multiplayer preview / review prior to that. So if you have the game, get in there, have some fun with it. I'm really sorry you couldn't be seeing what I'm doing right now via capture card, but you know, hopefully in the future things will get better for us and we'll be able to do that. But it was great, and keep tuning into EVO Unlimited and evogames.ca as the community grows, and we'll be seeing lots of great things from us in the future. So take care, and game on, guys. Ciao.